Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to CFL Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we got a video coming at you about the BC Lions and their home opener. They're going to have 50 Cent performing. Now, first of all, this is a big deal for the CFL, Rick. Like, 50 Cent, like, that's a big land for the Lions. Like, that is a big name artist. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, but also about kind of the implications this has league-wide in terms of the way that I believe the CFL needs to kind of market itself. As there are certain markets, BC not too long ago was having attendance issues. And they have seemingly, they had the sale, the new owner, and they have completely turned this around. And now there is no attendance issue. In BC, there actually have had times where they've been opening up the upper bowl for the first time in years. So how do you feel about the kind of the CFL going this new route in terms of bringing in these artists, having people come in for reasons other than just the game, but then coming to games throughout the rest of the season for the game itself?
I mean, me and you had this discussion earlier. I think it was us that had this discussion. I had it with someone. If 50 Cent is your home opener, then Grey Cup halftime is going to be just as
absolutely,
if not bigger.
And I think, ever since they started this, I think they started with One Republic, I believe. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before.
Last year was Green Day.
No. I'm not talking for halftime. I'm talking for the season opener. They had One Republic. The BC Lions did. And they've used that as a marketing chip to bring people in the building. And, some people will say what they want, being like, oh, just play football, blah, 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 blah. It works. It is a proven business model that the BC Lions have been absolutely reinvigorated. They've been advertising themselves around the town. It's like, I remember last time I was in BC earlier this year. No CFL season, anything on. There was advertisements all over the place. Subways, train stations, train Subway, not the sandwich restaurant. But all over the place, advertising the Lions and trying to get people out to the games. And so it absolutely makes you think of a team like the Toronto Argonauts and how they're not branding their team. You go to Toronto, and if you look at if you drive all the way around downtown, you completely forget that the Toronto Argonauts play there because there's no advertising or anything. No one knows the season's about to start in Toronto. And so I feel like this is something where, I'm just going to finish my point quick. With, the CFL bringing in Green Day, with the Lions bringing in 50 Cent and bringing in One Republic and doing all this sorts of stuff, is there a way, or I shouldn't say is there a way, should MLSE essentially invest in the Argonauts and other teams kind of follow suit who are maybe having issues sometimes with attendance?
To go based off of that, before I bring up my other point, if anyone's going to follow them or that 100% needs to follow this, whoever the future private owner is of the Elks, I would be, the first phone call I make is to Amar, BC owner, and be like, listen, I know you guys have a marketing, but what works for you guys? Yeah.
No, and even for example, the Edmonton Elks, they've had to, I believe it was I think it's this upcoming season that they've done this for. They've now, I think, closed out the upper bowl at Commonwealth because they want everyone down towards the field. So they have which, I mean, it makes sense. At the end of the day, no one expects them to actually fill that building in the sense if they play in a building that's way bigger than they would ever sell.
But I mean, if Amar Doman, the owner, can fill out or start to do well in BC, I'm sure if they passed off something to whoever the Elks' new owner is going to be down the road, I'm sure that would work out. But here's the other thing. So tickets for the concert kickoff is $25 for adults, while youth 17 and under can come in for $15.
Yeah.
How many? Hold on.
Yeah.
How many of those people are just going for the concert and then dipping?
Well,
that will be the interesting thing to say.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think you'll have a ton of that, and I'll tell you why. The thing is that are there people that are going in there not necessarily with the intent to watch the game, but with the intent of watching their halftime show, essentially, with 50 Cent? Absolutely. However, that's not the point. Because they're doing that at halftime, they have to watch the first half of the game. And when you're
No,
the
they're
BC,
not. It's actually 3 o'clock. So,
or is it
this
before
the game?
Okay, well, okay, so I guess that kind of gets rid of some of that.
Made my point.
Okay, so there's that. Although I will say there's going to be some people there that at least will stay out of curiosity. I'm sure there'll be some people who leave. There's always going to be people like that. However, there's going to be some people who are probably going to stick around, because they spent the money. Why not? Let's check out a game. We haven't seen a game in a while. And so as long as the product on the field is just decent, it doesn't even have to be spectacular. As long as it's decent, and BC's the Lions absolutely are at least decent on the field, it's going to be one of those things where people might be actually like, damn, like this is a lot of fun. I should go and do this again. And I'll tell you why, because that's happened to me. I went to a Winnipeg Sea Bears basketball game last year when they expanded the CEBL, and I had never been to a game. I'm like, I'm going to decide to go. And so, maybe, and so it's the same kind of logic of it's something new and this and that. So like, if they had a musician or artist or whatever, it's one of those things where you're having a reason to draw people into that building. Again, when I went to that CEBL game, it was their first season, this and that. I decided to give it a try. The same way that people in BC will, at the worst case scenario, we're going to get to see some live music, and it's 50 Cent. Like that's a big name artist. And so then there's going to be people that are going to stay out of curiosity, because it was one of those things. I went to that Sea Bears basketball game out of curiosity. I'm not a basketball guy. I don't really like basketball. However, I had a blast at that game, and it's one of those things where I would absolutely want to go to another game. Well, how have the Winnipeg Sea Bears done? They've seen excellent success when it comes to their attendance. They actually set a league record. It's since then been broken, but they have done well with their attendance. And so it's one of those things where when you're the BC Lions, when you're a franchise that was not doing very well with attendance and kind of needed that revival, being able to do that and bring the fans in the building is, in my opinion, a great thing to do. And I think there's other teams that need to follow suit. I mean, there's teams like, Winnipeg and Saskatchewan where it would obviously be nice if something like that happened, but there's no need. But in places like Edmonton, where there's that massive building and it's kind of iffy sometimes, now the product on the field also hasn't always been great. And, maybe some teams out east, especially Toronto more than anyone could really use this. And it's not like MLSE doesn't have the connections to get it done. I refuse to believe that. But overall, I think that's something that the CFL kind of wants to get back in the mainstream, continue on with that. Did well with Green Day for the halftime show this past year. And I'm excited exactly what they got going on this year, as I want the CFL to be doing well. Is there anything else that you would like to say there, Mr. Rick?
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. Check out later this week, we're going to have our week 3 of the preseason previews coming out. And also, if you have not checked out our week 2 of the preseason review of the 4 games that happened, I didn't do so well on my predictions. Rick went kind of 50-50. So make sure to check that out and see how all that went down. And we will see you guys next time.